Hey, you just hit my car. Women don't know to drive only.
Sir, it was not my fault. You hit a sudden brake. You didn't give any signal either. Your brake lights are not working.
Papa. Women always have a back answer ready in arguments, huh? You always think you're right.
Sir, looks like you know all the women in the world, so I won't argue with you. But I don't know about other women, but I am speaking the truth. So please take out 5k from your pocket for the damages caused. Else we can go to the traffic police who is standing right over there and make a case.
Fine. I'm leaving you because you're a woman. I don't like to fight with them.
According to the website Simply Psychology, a cognitive bias is a subconscious error that leads us to misinterpreting information around us and affects the accuracy and rationality of our decisions and judgments. Hello everyone, my name is Shramika. I'm an engineer by profession and a seeker by passion. In simple words, our brain receives a lot of information, but it cannot process so much at once. So it creates these mental shortcuts कि ऐसा है तो ऐसा ही होगा. वुमेन ड्राइवर है तो इसको गाड़ी चलाना तो नहीं आता होगा, किसी ना किसी को तो ठोकेगी ही. Now there is no doubt that these mental shortcuts of cognitive biases are beneficial for us as it saves us time. But just like any other double-edged sword, it can take form of a harmful prejudice that can harm a particular individual or a group of people. So in this video, we will go over some of the most common cognitive biases and some common examples and see how we can avoid them. The last one I'm going to be talking about is the most important one and the most harmful one as well. So stick till the end of the video. This one is going to be a fun and an eye-opening ride. The confirmation bias is the tendency to listen more often to information that confirms our own beliefs and thoughts. Through this bias, people tend to favor information that reinforces their own thoughts and beliefs. Real-life examples are listening to those news sources that present stories that support your views. We all know at least one person in our circle who won't listen to anything logical or rational, right? भले ही आप कितने भी अच्छे पॉइंट्स रख रहे हो एक आर्ग्यूमेंट में, but if it is opposing his views, he won't listen to them. This is confirmation bias. Even the biggest of the biggest social media giants have been accused of conforming to this bias for their users. People have this bias because they want to protect their self-esteem by projecting to others that their self-beliefs are accurate and that there's no way they could be wrong. It is tough to change our thought processes and beliefs, there's no doubt about it. But it is also beneficial if we all open our minds and think about things logically and rationally, putting aside our beliefs. The next bias we are going to talk about is anchoring bias. This is like a first impression bias. Once you have heard the anchor, you're most likely to interpret the information following it based upon this anchor. Very common example is these online sales that we are so accustomed to. During an online sale, we see a scratched price and a sale price. Now the scratched price becomes an anchor for us. And we calculate the difference between the scratch price and the sale price and see if the deal is good. Thus, quickly add to cart.
पैसा ही पैसा होगा.
To avoid this bias, it is best to take our own sweet time to make the decision. Don't get pressurized into taking any decision hastily. Remember that childhood saying, haste makes waste. The next one is the fundamental attribution error. The technical definition of this fundamental attribution error is an individual's tendency to attribute another's actions to their character or personality while attributing their own behavior to external situational factors outside of their control.
अरे कहना क्या चाहते हो?
I know, बहुत ही verbose हो गया. In simple language, if there's a collision between your car and another car and the fault was of the other driver, you'll be quick to judge that he is a bad driver. But if the fault was yours, you will immediately put the blame on bad brakes or poor weather conditions rather than thinking that you had a bad reaction time. Now, how do we avoid this bias? We should look at the situations and people involved in them non-judgmentally. We should use empathy and cultural intelligence to understand why people behave the way they do. We should also build emotional intelligence to understand our own moods and reactions accurately. The availability bias is the human tendency to think that examples of things that come readily to mind are more representative than is actually the case. This means that we overestimate the risk based on poor judgment and bad decisions. For example, a smoker who does not know anyone who has died of smoking related illness will continue to smoke irrespective of its health harms. Or we might believe that plane crashes are more common than they actually are, just because we can easily think of an example. In the workplace, if someone is being considered for their promotion, but their boss thinks of one bad incident that happened years ago but has left an lasting impression, that one event might have an outsized effect on the final decision. So it is best to avoid any decision based on an impulse and watch overall trends and patterns. This way we will be able to overcome the availability bias. The optimism bias is a tendency to overestimate the likelihood that good things will happen to us, while underestimating the probability that negative things will impact us. Meaning that we tend to be too optimistic for our own good. For example, we assume that the negative events won't affect us, such as a divorce, a job loss, an illness or an accident or death. The optimism bias has its roots in availability bias. Because we can probably think of bad things happening to other people, it seems more likely that they will be affected by these negative events and not us. Our mind is so strange sometimes. This bias can lead people to take health risks like smoking, not eating healthy food, not wearing a seat belt. The bad news is that the research has found that this bias, optimism bias, is incredibly difficult to reduce. But the good part is that we are eternally optimistic, giving us the hope and motivation to pursue our goals. So these are the most common biases we all have. Did you connect with one more than the other? Or did you think of some more real life examples? Let me know in the comment section below if you think any of these biases has affected you and your life decisions as well. I love reading your comments. It truly makes my day. I would love to have more discussion on this. Human brain is fascinating, isn't it? So I hope you liked this video. If you did, then you know what to do. Hit that like button and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Also let me know if you have some more video ideas for this channel. I am really digging for some ideas, so any help would be great. Always remember, the mind has a powerful way of attracting things that are in harmony with it, good and bad. I'll see you again next week. Until then, happy learning and bye.